midday, the scouts had examined every inch of the country for a place where the Decepticons could have placed a spy installation. But they found nothing. They signaled to Silverbolt, and the large plane was about to descend to them when its video radar sensors gave a brief flicker. It had picked up something. Silverbolt dived quickly, and the smaller aircraft attached themselves to him to create the mighty Superion. At full power, Superion rose up and up to the last fringes of the Earth's atmosphere and the edge of space itself. This time, there was no doubting it. Something big but invisible was being picked up by the radar. Galvatron stood with Soundwave in the main control complex of the Decepticon base. On a video display screen, a small dot moved slowly.
What is it?
Asked Galvatron.
Autobot patrol. High-altitude aircraft. Descending now. Contact fading.
Why didn't you have it destroyed?
Cried Galvatron.
Hostile action would reveal surveillance satellite. In 10 hours, refraction shield will be operating.
Good.
Cried Galvatron.
The 3 surveillance space stations keep all parts of the planet in view at all times. We can see every move made by the enemy, no matter how well he thinks he is hidden. And the refraction shields will make the stations totally invisible.
High above Earth, on the edge of space, Decepticon space station Argon orbited slowly. The station commander, Blitzwing, watched his crew as they adjusted the controls that kept the giant satellite in position. Suddenly, lights flashed on the control panel, and the voice of Soundwave came through the audio system.
Stand by for refraction shield activation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Activating.
For a moment, the Decepticons who were watching through the viewing ports saw a flicker of blue light run along the metal structure of the space station. Soundwave's voice sounded again.
Activation complete. All stations now invisible to external sensors.
Blitzwing spoke into the radio.
Acknowledge.
He turned to the Decepticon crew.
Now we can spy on the Autobots without their ever guessing where we are.
Ultra Magnus studied the recordings of Superion's radar contact.
I think that we have found at least part of the answer,
he said.
There is something up there. Some device which enables the Decepticons to keep watch on us at all times.
A spy in the sky satellite?
Asked Spike.
No, something much bigger,
said the Autobot leader.
But out of visual range. Someone must investigate who can go farther than the aerial bots. Tell Cosmos that I have a task for him.
A short time later, Silverbolt took off again. Tucked into his cargo compartment was the small saucer spy Autobot, Cosmos. At maximum altitude, Silverbolt said, "It's all yours, Cosmos. Good luck." And the small saucer dropped clear of the plane, hovered for a moment, then sped up and out into the blackness of space. Within seconds, Cosmos picked up a radio signal on the Decepticon wavelength. Then another, and another. He circled high above Earth. There was nothing to be seen, but there was a continuous flow of radio messages. Some were from Decepticon headquarters, but the others were from space. Cosmos recorded everything, then headed back to Metroplex with all speed. Ultra Magnus heard Cosmos report. Then Hound analyzed the recordings of the Decepticon radio messages.
You were right,
he said to Ultra Magnus.
This is no ordinary spy in the sky. We're talking now about full-scale orbiting space stations. 3 of them. They are so carefully positioned that there is no part of the Earth's surface which escapes the eyes of the Decepticons. They must have some sort of shielding system that makes them impossible to see. They must be destroyed,
said Ultra Magnus.
Well, that will be difficult if not impossible,
said Hound.
We do not have the capability for a frontal attack in space.
I remember in the Battle of the Green Asteroid,
put in Cup,
the enemy was out of range. We put out false signals to lure him closer.
We could give it a try,
said the Autobot leader.
I have an idea.
Said Spike.
When I was a little boy,
Said Spike.
my dad used to tell me stories. One of my favorites was about a little man who had two fierce enemies. They were giants, and he was helpless to do anything. But he tricked the giants into thinking that each had attacked the other, and as a result, they destroyed each other. Couldn't we do something the same with the 3 space stations?
Cop laughed.
I don't think that we could trick the Decepticons into fighting each other. But, Spike, you've given me an idea. Perhaps they can be made to destroy their own space stations. Stick around. We'll need your help. You're almost as smart as an Autobot.
What's your plan, Cup?
Asked Ultra Magnus.
Give me some time to think it out more.
Was the answer.
It's going to take a lot of hard work and ingenuity.
Cop went to look for Huffer and Wheeljack. When he found them, he had a long discussion with them. Then he sent for Spike.
Tell us more about the Northern Lights,
he said.
Is it true that they interfere with radio transmissions?
That's what I've heard my dad say.
Replied Spike.
When there's a display of northern lights in the sky, you can hardly hear anything on the radio for static.
Good.
Said Cop.
Now I know what we're going to do. Huffer and Wheeljack say that they can build a transmitter which will trigger off a display of the northern lights in the upper atmosphere. That will blot out radio signals between the Decepticon space stations and between them and their base. Hound can send false messages which will get through the static. The Decepticons will not know whether they are coming or going. It should be fun. For us.
They reported their plan to Ultra Magnus. It would take time to set up, Wheeljack told the leader. They would need the help of every Autobot who could be spared from other duties. Work started immediately. 10 days later, the work was complete. Power generating and amplifying equipment was loaded aboard Ultra Magnus and driven to an isolated mountaintop. Grapple followed behind to do the heavy lifting. The 2 normal-looking vehicles parked quietly until after dark. Then, Spike and a swarm of the smaller Autobots began unloading the gear. Spike looked up at the dark sky.
The Decepticons are bound to spot us,
he said.
Yes,
Said Swerve.
we have to move fast and hit them before they can decide what to do.
Swiftly, the apparatus was assembled. From a small pack, a thing like a gigantic umbrella opened out. It was a radio aerial. But it would not transmit messages. It was designed to send a megavolt charge of electricity into the sky. Cup hoped that it would work, and that a display of northern lights would be triggered off such as no one had ever seen before. Cup threw a switch. There was a crackle and a loud humming from the equipment. Then first the horizon, and then the whole sky was lit up with the flash and flicker of the Autobots' own Aurora Borealis. Aboard Decepticon's space station Argon, Station Commander Blitzwing stared at the communication panel. The last message from base had been suddenly drowned out by a roar of static. The radio Decepticon adjusted the controls, but the message was gone. Then, through the static came a familiar sound, the voice of Soundwave.
Emergency. Space Station Argon. Redeploy to coordinates Alpha 902. Immediate.
Blitzwing turned and shouted orders. The rocket motors on the outer rim of the space station flamed into life. Slowly at first, but gathering speed to hypersonic velocity, Space Station Argon headed for its new location. At the same time, Space Stations Krypton and Xenon were also being redeployed to the same location, coordinates Alpha 902. Far below, Cup looked up.
All we do now is wait,
he said.
Hound's imitation of Soundwave could have fooled me. Let's hope that it fooled the Decepticons.
At the Decepticon base, Galvatron screamed as he watched the video display screen.
What are those lunatics doing?
He raged. Near the center of the screen, 3 blips moved rapidly towards each other.
They've gone mad. Tell them to stop and get back on station.
No communication. Abnormal static.
said Soundwave.
Can't they see what's going to happen? They're on collision course.
Cried Galvatron.
They're invisible to each other!
Cried Starscream. Galvatron lunged across the control panel and threw the switch which deactivated the refraction shield. But too late. On the screen, the three dots came together and disappeared. On the ground, Spike and the Autobots saw a distant flash in the sky as the Decepticon space stations collided and smashed into 1,000 pieces. Ultra Magnus was waiting to congratulate the party on their return to Metroplex.
That was a super team effort.
He said.
It is only by teamwork that we will eventually win victory over the Decepticons.
He looked around.
Where are Cup and Wheeljack?
At that moment, the two rolled up and transformed.
That was a job well done,
said Ultra Magnus.
It was even better than I'd hoped.
Said Cup.
I had a sudden thought, and we turned back. I realized that the coordinates we had given the Decepticons were for a spot almost directly above us. It has been raining pieces of wrecked space station for the past hour. We have all the cybernite and other stuff that Ratchet and Wheeljack will need for a long time to come.